you're a woman on dating apps, I want you to know that men are laughing at you behind closed doors with their homeboys. Men look at dating apps as free SWs. It's the most easily accessible, the most affordable, and the most low effort way to get schmecks. I have seen women come over to a man's apartment, buy all the ingredients, and cook a home cooked meal at a man's apartment to have schmecks and then Uber herself home on her own credit card.
I used to have a flatmate who had a situationship. They met each other on a dating app, but she would go to his place 2 hours on a train, bring him food, cook for him, want a relationship with him. They'd sleep together and then she'd Uber her back home. At least he would pay for her Uber, but he never asked her to be his girlfriend, and every time they met, it was always at his place. So now let's focus on the man. This type of man, if they're not looking for anything serious, and you as a woman tell him like, look, I want to date, but I don't want to sleep with you until we're in a committed relationship. These type of men will be like, okay, bye, because they can get what they actually want very easily. There's gonna be some woman out there the man doesn't like, but is willing to use her. And as my friend said, like, there are a lot of men on dating apps, like, they're willing to talk to you, they want to talk to you, they want that ego boost, they want your attention. They're not going to meet you unless you're willing to hook up with them. And that's because they're not actually looking for a long-term relationship. Lead you on in some way and like give you false hope. As a woman, if you're trying to date, of course you're trying to get dates, alright? But if a man is wasting too much of your time and you have to stop talking to him. So I used to live with two musicians, right? They were both females. They're like in the leading symphonies, and they would excessively use dating apps. Like, they're lovely people, but I just couldn't get over the fact, like, I'd wake up at 1 a.m. and there was a random dude in the kitchen eating my fucking yogurt, and that was a breaking point. Really, I was on a diet, and all I could think about was that yogurt. I had dreams about that yogurt for 2 days, and then I woke up and I was like, finally gonna eat that damn yogurt, and I see this random guy eating my fucking yogurt at 1 a.m. in the kitchen. I was like, what are you doing eating my yogurt, and who the fuck are you? And the next day I talked to my flatmate and I was like, Dan ate my yogurt, can you please buy me another one? He was like, she didn't know who Dan was. The guy you were sleeping with last night. And then I thought about it, like, in the future, if I meet some guy and then I started to like him, and then I find out that he was one of those guys like fucking her while I was in the room next door, I would just fucking lose my mind and I would not date this guy. You have to think about the consequences of your actions. If you're gonna go hooking up, like, you're gonna have to think about the probability that you're gonna have to tell your future husband, your future wife, oh hey, your best friend, oh yeah, I was fucking her like 3 years ago. So yeah, as a woman, do not do this. Do not be desperate.